Magandang araw po sa inyong lahat. Ito po si Doc Ed Padama. Ngayon po ay ibabahagi ko sa inyo yung tinatawag po nating updated version ng research title template. Ito po ay ginagamit para makabuo kayo o para mas madali kayong makabuo ng inyong proposed research title. So yung nakaraang video natin, kung maaalala ninyo, bago ko ito simulan, ay ibinigay ko yung iba't ibang mga bahagi o yung tinatawag nating elemento ng research title para matulungan yung mga estudyante, ganun din yung mga teachers at research writers na mas madali pong makita yung iba't ibang elemento na bumubuo sa research title. At dahil dito, mas madali silang makakabuo ng research title. Dahil madalas po tinatanong ng kanilang mga guro o kanilang mga research advisors, lalong-lalo na mga estudyante sa senior high school at sa college level, na i-identify o hanapin yung tinatawag nilang independent variable at dependent variable. So kung alam na ninyo kung ano yung iba't ibang elemento na ito at familiar na kayo, mas madali nyo po itong makikita dahil alam na ninyo kung papaano nyo ginawa gamit itong iba't ibang elemento na ito. Iyon ang pag-uusapan natin mamaya at itong updated version na ito, dinagdagan pa natin para mas lalong lumawak ang inyong kaalaman pagdating sa pagbuo ng research title. Meron na akong naunang video na ginawa, kaya lang ito ay nasa English version. Kaya ito naman ay para sa mga mag-aaral natin ng research at mga manunulat ng research na nasa iba't ibang level. So, mula sa senior high school, sa college, sa graduate school level, ganun din, kasama din yung mga professional natin, ng mga teachers, ng mga guro. If you are interested, ang gagamitin po nating lengguwahe sa pagpapaliwanag nitong ating video ay Tagalog-English. Kung kayo po ay interesado at gusto nyong gamitin itong tinatawag nating updated research template sa inyong klase, sa inyong seminar, sa inyong training, ang kailangan nyo lang pong gawin ay padalhan ako ng mensahe sa FB at humingi lang po kayo ng consent na gagamitin ninyo yung video sa inyong klase o sa inyong training or sa inyong seminar. This is very much appreciated kung ito po ay magagawa ninyo. So ngayon pa lang nagpapasalamat ako sa inyong lahat. And bago po tayo magsimula, please do promote and subscribe our YouTube channel at Doc Ed Padama. I-share nyo po itong ating YouTube channel, itong ating video sa inyong mga kasama, kaklase, kaibigan, kamag-anak, kagrupo sa research para matuto din po sila kung paano ang dapat gawin pagdating sa pagbuo ng research title. Para maiwasan natin yung tinatawag nating vicious cycle na paulit-ulit na lang pagdating sa pagbuo ng research title, it's either nanghihingi o nagre-recycle lang ng research title. Iniiwasan po natin yon para maging self-sufficient tayo. Okay? And susunod po, if you have questions, kung meron kayong katanungan na may kinalaman po sa pagbuo ng research title, ilagay nyo lang po sa comment section sa ilalim ng video na ito at gagawin ko po kagad ito ng video, lalong-lalo na po kung mapapakinabangan po at magiging kapakipakinabang para sa mga subscribers natin at followers natin dito sa ating channel. So, simulan na po natin yung pag-uusap natin. So, kung meron po kayong mapapansin, ito pong ating table ay talagang nadagdagan at humaba. Yung nauna nating research title template ay nagsimula lamang dito sa 4. Yung tinatawag nating goal, dito muna natin para makita nyo na mas mabuti. Yung goal, ito yung tinatawag nating mga elemento ng research title. Yung goal, independent variable, dependent variable, at yung competency. Okay? And then sumunod, dinagdagan natin ng lokal. And then sumunod, para doon sa mga teachers na gumagawa ng action research, nadagdagan na siya nung tinatawag na output. Okay? So, ang paggamit nito, depende kung anong pinapagawa sa inyo. Kung ang pinagagawa sa inyo ay full research at hanggang recommendation lang, hanggang dito lang sa bahagi ng lokal at hindi nyo na kailangan ng output. Kung kayo naman ay guro at pinapagawa kayo ng action research, mula dito hanggang dito sa output, pwede nyong gawin, pwede nyong gamitin at napakadali lamang nito. Sumunod, para doon sa ngayon lang po na nakikinig o narinig itong paggamit ng research title template, sa ilalim ng elements na binanggit ko ay yung definition nung bawat elemento. So pag sinabi nating goal, ito yung definition niya, ito yung direction ng research ninyo. Pag sinabi nating independent variable, ito yung definition niya. So dahil dinadaanan ko na lang kasi ito po ay extensively diniscuss doon sa mga naunang video, hanapin nyo lang po yung research title template. Okay? Yung pagbuo ng research title. So makikita nyo, kukonti lang yung elements doon sa video discussion na yon. At pagdating sa dependent variable, ito yung mga apektado ng issue. At pagdating sa competency, ito yung area na iniimbestigahan doon sa mga apektado. So halimbawa, students, anong area sa buhay ng mga estudyante? Okay? Pagkatapos, yung local, ito naman ay yung lugar kung saan gagawin yung inyong investigation, yung inyong study, yung inyong research. At pagdating dito sa output, ito naman yung definition niya para doon sa mga guro na gumagawa ng action research. Ito yung concrete, crafted, created output based doon sa findings ng investigation ninyo. Pagkatapos nating ipaliwanag yung mga elemento at yung mga definition, sa ilalim nito, kung mapapansin nyo, color-coded na sila. Okay. Ito ay yung mga example ng mga salita na makikita ninyo sa mga research titles. So, karaniwan nakikita nyo effect, impact, relationship, development, challenges, level, emerging, and utilization. Pwede nyo ngayon itong dagdagan para mag-extend yung inyong listahan ng mga halimbawa pagdating doon sa goal. Karaniwan, ito yung mga unang salita na ginagamit pagdating sa pagbuo ng research title. Pagdating dito sa independent variable, ito naman yung mga halimbawa natin. Ito yung issue. Hindi ko po ginamit yung salitang problema dahil hindi lahat ng iniimbestigahan ay problema. Okay? Karaniwan ang tawag natin dito, the term used for the area that you are investigating is the issue. Okay? Yung issue, pwedeng problema, pwedeng hindi problema. Kagaya ng blended learning, hindi naman po yung problema. Okay? So, ito yung mga halimbawa ng independent variable natin. Ito yung definition na kaya madali nyo na lang ma-identify kung meron man kayong mabuo na research ninyo. Itong dependent variable, ito naman yung mga halimbawa natin. Ito yung mga apektado o yung mga respondents ninyo o yung mga sasagot ng inyong instrument o research instrument. Pwede mga estudyante, guro, mga heads, principal, parents, stakeholders, depende kung sino yung gagamitin yung tinatawag nating respondents. Pagdating dito sa competency, depende kung kailangan yung gamitin yung competency. Mamaya makikita nyo sa halimbawa natin. So kagaya ng sabi ko kanina, kapag estudyante, anong area sa buhay ng estudyante pwedeng academic performance, yun yung competency. Anong area sa buhay ng apektado yung iimbestigahan nyo. Okay? Itong leadership style, pwedeng sa area ng school head, ng principal, mga leaders yan. Okay? Thinking skills, pwedeng sa mga estudyante. Reading comprehension, pwede sa mga estudyante. Writing skills, pwede sa mga estudyante. Okay? So, yun yung mga halimbawa natin. Ulitin natin, pwede nyo pang i-extend o dagdagan yung mga halimbawa dito para ma-cover nyo po lahat. So, binibigyan ko lang kayo ng idea kung ano yung mga halimbawa at ano yung relasyon nila doon sa elemento na pinag-uusapan natin. Pagdating dito sa lokal, madali na lang ito. Ito yung location, ito yung lugar kung saan gagawin yung inyong study. So, pwedeng mga halimbawa dyan, pangalan ng school, kung pwedeng ilagay yung pangalan ng school, pangalan ng community, pwedeng barangay, pwedeng district. Ito, district, division, region, pwede yan yung lugar ng tinatawag natin dun sa DepEd, pwedeng distrito ng mga eskwelahan, division, and region. Ito yung mga iba't ibang level. Okay? So, dito naman, susunod yung output. Ulitin natin, ito yung mga halimbawa. Kung ang gagawin ninyo ay action research, ito yung mga example ng output. Ulitin natin, meron tayong isa pang idadagdag na element dito which is already yung tinatawag nating proposed research title. Makakabuo na kayo nito kung alam na ninyo kung anong gusto nyong imbestigahan. Ito yung mga example dito. So, burahin muna natin ito. Ginamit ko to dun sa unang discussion. Kukuha ngayon tayo ng mga halimbawa dito sa mga example. Ito yung nandito sa baba. Ito. Okay? Kumuha na ako ng mga halimbawa para makita ninyo kung papaano ginawa at papaano siya bubuuin. So, halimbawa, ang gusto kong gawa ng investigasyon ay descriptive research design. So, pwede kong gamitin yung epekto. Okay? Effect of what? So, gusto ko dito sa issue na imbestigahan ay yung online modality. Ibig sabihin yung paraan ng pagtuturo sa pamamagitan ng online modality. Okay? Diyan ako interesado. Ulitin ko, dapat lahat ng elements na gagamitin ninyo, interesado kayo. Dahil kung interesado kayo, meron na kayong idea, meron na kayong kaunting kaalaman doon sa issue na iimbestigahan ninyo. Kaya palagi ko personally ina-advise sa mga research writers, sa mga advices ko na kung meron kayong gagawin na research title proposal, yung interesado kayo. Yung susunod na element, yung DV, ang gagamitin natin, kung mapapansin ninyo, dito yung green nandito. So nagpalit sila dahil sa ang ginamit natin is effect. Para masunod lang yung tinatawag nating grammar rules. Mamaya kapag binuo natin, makikita ninyo. So dito ulitin ko, nagpalit lang yung pwesto ng DV tsaka ng competency. So dito sa DV, ang gagamitin kong respondents ay mga estudyante sa mathematics at para mas specific pa, selected. So hindi lahat. Okay? So kapag selected, pipili tayo kung sino lang, depende sa classification ng respondents na gagamitin natin. So ito, nandito yung DV. Yung susunod naman, since students ang ginamit natin, anong bahagi sa buhay ng estudyante ang iimbestigahan natin? So dito papasok yung academic performance. Pwede nyo palitan ng term kung ayaw nyo gamitin yung academic performance. Pwede nyo gawing specific. Ito ay para lang sa pag-uusap natin. Yung purpose lang nito ay for our discussion. Okay? So, andun na yung dependent variable at yung area doon sa dependent variable. So, nakuha na natin itong apat. Yung susunod naman, lokal. Ulitin natin. Anong level ba ang gusto nyong imbestigahan? Kung yan ay kailangan nyo may submit agad, at ang kailangan nyo ay isang eskwelahan, pwede kayong magsimula dun sa tinatawag nating local school. Okay? Yung local school or pangalan ng school. Ulitin natin, for the benefit of issues related dun sa tinatawag nating ethical issues. Kung ang inyong research paper ay makakaapekto, yung resulta ng research paper ninyo ay makakaapekto sa status or standing ng eskwelahan, hindi nyo dapat ilagay yung pangalan. Okay? Pero meron ding paraan para maging official kung ilalagay ninyo o hindi. Ito yung pagpapadaan doon sa tinatawag nating committee or board. Ethics Review Board or Ethics Committee. Kung merong ganyan yung inyong eskwelahan, required yan, kailangan yan, ipadaan ninyo doon sa Ethics Committee or Ethics Review Board, ERB ang tawag namin. Ngayon, kung kayo naman ay nasa level ng mga senior high school or college, discretion nyo yan kasi wala naman yung committee or board. Ang kailangan nyo lang i-consider ay kung ang inyong title ba, yun nga, makakaapekto, makakasama sa eskwelahan. Kailangan nyo pa bang ilagay yung pangalan? Kung hindi na, wag yun ang ilagay. Okay? Yung susunod naman ay yung output. So, ang output natin na gagamitin, lalagyan natin for the purpose of our discussion is gagamitin natin yung program. Anong klaseng program? Intervention program. Para saan? Sa mathematics. Ito ang magiging basihan sa pag-develop. Ibig sabihin, merong existing kapag development. Okay? Pag sinabi nyo namang crafting, gagawa pa lang kayo. So ito, development, improvement, pwede nyong ilagay dyan, of an intervention program, ito yon sa mathematics. Ngayon, kung bubuuin natin lahat ng mga ginamit natin, effects of online modality to the academic performance of selected batch students of school, basis for the development of an intervention program in mathematics, ito po yung lalabas. Okay. So, ang lalabas dyan, effects of online modality to the academic performance of selected math students of pangalan ng school kung papayagan, basis for the development of an intervention program in mathematics. Ito po ay descriptive research. So, kung ang gagamitin ninyo ay descriptive, okay lang ito. Ngayon, merong mga research advisors, merong mga guro na nagtuturo ng research. Ayaw na nila yung salitang effect. So, paano nyo gagawin ito? Kung halimbawa, ito yung sinubmit niyo. So, kung tatanggalin natin yan, effect of, at gagamitin natin online modality, pwede. Okay? Kaya lang, hindi na siya magiging descriptive. Magiging correlation na siya. Iko-compare ninyo kung meron bang kinalaman itong variable na online modality sa academic performance ng mga estudyante. So, ito yung variable 1. Ito yung variable 2. Okay? Ngayon, sa grammar naman, kailangan nyo lang palitan itong 2. Hindi na siya 2. Online modality, anong sagot? And the academic performance of selected math students of pangalan ng school at yung output niya will still be applicable. Ibig sabihin, itong bahagi na ito, pwede pa rin gamitin. So nakita nyo, meron tayong dalawang title sa iisang nabuo nating na title. Yung isang title ay yung tinatawag nating descriptive at ito naman, ngayon, lumabas siya kung walang effect ay correlation. Okay. O, di ba? So, yan yung unang halimbawa ng paggamit ng tinatawag nating updated research title template natin. Ulitin natin, tayo po ang bumuo nito at tayo ang nag-develop nito throughout time. So, ulitin ko, kung gusto nyo pong gamitin, magpaalam lang po kayo, email nyo ako o i-message nyo ako sa aking mga social media account. Ito pong susunod, relationship. So, kung relationship ang gagamitin natin, nandito yon. Okay? Correlation ang gagawin nyo. Kung correlation, meron kayong dalawang variable. So, dito ang variable natin, yung independent variable, ay yung tinatawag nating inset. Inset ay isang type ng training, in-service training para sa mga teachers. Okay? Kaya kung makikita nyo dito, inset are form of seminar or trainings. Pwedeng online, pwedeng face-to-face. So, since pinapayagan na yung face-to-face ngayon. And then, ang respondents natin ay selected faculty. Yung isang variable natin ngayon ay yung teaching competency. So, ano ang ikukumpara nating variable? Parang kanina dito, sa example natin, may dalawa siyang variable. So, dito, meron dalawang variable na iko-compare. Ito yung variable 1 at ito yung variable 2. Kasi ito, mga respondents itong selected faculty. Tapos, ito na yung tinatawag nating lokal. Saan gagawin? Division level ang gagamitin. Tapos, ito naman ay magiging basihan sa paggawa ng faculty development framework. Hindi program, it's a framework. Ibig sabihin, basihan yan ng programa. Ngayon, kung bubuuin natin yung correlation. Okay? Yung correlation niya ngayon, relationship of inset and teaching competency. Nakita ninyo kanina, nilagay natin ng label kung ano yung variable 1 at variable 2. So, yung inset at yung teaching competency. Inset at teaching competency. Hindi ba ito yon? Inset at teaching competency. Okay, so nag-reflect din siya dito. Of selected faculty of the division ng ganito. Kung anong division ang gagamitin ninyo. Basis for the crafting of a faculty development framework. Question. Okay, akong magtatanong para sa inyo. Pwede bang hindi gamitin yung salitang relationship or correlation? Okay? The answer is yes. Pwede nyong ilagay, pwede nyong tanggalin. di ba? Tanggalin nyo na yan. Kung tatanggalin nyo, pwede yan. Okay? So, ano ang magiging rephrasing ng mga salita doon sa title ninyo? Pwede nyo lagyan ng the incent and teaching competency of selected faculty of the division of ganyan, basis for crafting. O, di ba? So, pwede yan. Pwede bang ganito ang title, sir, pero correlation ang gusto kong gawin? Yes, correlation pa rin yan. Kahit na walang salitang relationship of or correlation. Okay. Susunod, kailangan nyo lang i-indicate sa manuscript niyo na ang design na gagamitin niyo ay correlation. Anyway, kahit naman sa title, halata naman ng mga panel na correlation yung ginagamit yung title dahil doon sa variables na naka-reflect dito sa inyong title. Okay, yung pangatlong example. Yung pangatlo, challenges. Challenges is descriptive. Okay? Ano-ano yung mga challenges, yung mga kinaharap na mga pagsubok ng mga respondents ninyo. So, descriptive yan. Tapos, ang ginamit niya, so ito yon challenges ang ginamit natin dito. And then, anong issue? Blended learning ang ginamit. And then, sino ang dito, ang affected yung DV, teachers. Tapos, dito, anong ginamit niyang local, school. Tapos, kung lalagyan ng output, basis for the development of a region-wide inset program. Okay, paano ngayon bubuuin ito? Challenges ng mga guro sa blended learning o paggamit ng blended learning sa pangalan ng school, basis for ganito. Napakasimple lang, di ba? So, kung titignan natin yung output, challenges encountered in the implementation. Wala nakalagay na implementation, di ba? Pero makikita nyo dyan, nandyan na yung element. Aayusin nyo na lang yung mga salita na gagamitin nyo sa title. Okay? So, halimbawa, blended learning. Teachers yan. Siyempre, yung paggamit ng mga guro sa blended learning. Kaya, nilagyan ito ng salitang implementation. Challenges encountered in the implementation of blended learning modality in ganito. Sino ba ang nag-i-implement ng blended learning? So, i-specify nyo ulit sa manuscript ninyo, ilalagay ninyo, isusulat ninyo na ang nag-implement ng blended learning ay yung mga guro at sila din po ang magiging respondents ko. Okay, pwede nyo namang ilagay dito na yung mga guro, i-reflect ninyo sa title. So, ang lalabas dyan, challenges encountered in the implementation of blended learning by selected, halimbawa, blended learning modality of selected, halimbawa, lalagyan nyo ng specific na subject. Modality of selected, halimbawa, PE, Physical Education Teachers, para mayroong challenge, di ba? O yan, sige. Okay? So, dito papasok yan para makita ninyo ng malinaw. Dito papasok yan. So, ang lalabas dyan is challenges encountered in the implementation of blended learning modality of selected physical education teachers in region ganito. Pwede nyo palitan yan. Gusto nyo local school, pwede nyo palitan yan. Basis for the standardization of a region-wide inset program. Para maging standard yung pag-i-implement, basehan ito para maging standard, pare-pareho ang pag-i-implement nung tinatawag nating inset program. Okay? Also, ulitin natin ang ganda ng naging modification nung ating title base dito sa ating discussion. Okay, yung susunod, lagyan natin ng check para alam natin kung ano yung mga natapos natin. Okay, utilization naman. Itong utilization, pwede nyo gamitin yan. Ibig sabihin yung paggamit. Pwede nyo lagyan ng level of utilization. Pwede yun. Okay, halimbawa, yan, ayaw nyong utilization. Yan, lagyan nyo level of utilization. And then, ang ginamit natin dito, anong ginagamit? Yung strategy ng pagtuturo na innovative o tech-based. Okay? Innovative teaching strategy or technology-based, pwedeng lagay natin tech-based, para matandaan ninyo, technology-based teaching strategy kung ayaw nyo ng innovative. Okay. So, selected science teachers ang magiging dependent variable natin. And then, wala siyang competency kasi ito ay teaching strategy na ito. And then, pangalan ng school, and then, ang output natin ay basis forecasting a science intervention program. So, if these are the elements, kung ito yung mga elemento, utilization of innovative teaching strategy, selected science teachers, pangalan ng school, basis for casting a science intervention program, ang output natin is this, utilization of innovative teaching strategy. Ulitin ko, pwede nyo pong palitan ito kung gusto niyo. Okay, generic term naman po yan eh. Technology-based, kung gusto niyo, teaching strategy of selected science teachers of pangalan ng school. Okay, halimbawa, school, yung paggamit nila ng Labster na application, o pwede nyo gamitin yan para i-replace yung innovative. So, pwede nyo gamitin yung application na gumagamit ng laboratory online, Labster. Okay? Ayan, pwede nyo gamitin yan. Utilization of Labster as a teaching strategy or as an innovative teaching strategy of selected science teachers of pangalan ng school. Basis for casting or crafting a science intervention program. Again, ang ganda po ng naging modification ng ating research title or proposed research title dito sa pinag-uusapan natin. Okay, susunod. Nakakarami na tayo. Okay, dito nakalagay naman, wala siyang ginamit na goal. Okay, tignan natin kung ano yung kalalabasan ng ng elements niya. So, pwede kayong mag-experiment dito sa template natin eh. So, tech-based leadership style. So, mga leaders sa loob ng eskwelahan. Okay? So, pwede nyo gamitin school heads, pwedeng principal, and the like. Okay? Yung mga ganon. And then, dito, regional yung level niya. Basis for crafting A, kayo nang bahala. Okay? Now dito, ayun pala eh, di ba? Nilagyan ko na pala siya doon sa unang discussion. Ang lalabas doon sa mga elements na binigay ay tech-based leadership style of school heads, o pwede nyong specify, pwede nyong gawing principal of region, basis forecasting blank region-wide leadership framework. Pwede nyo nang ilagay dito. Okay? Basis forecasting a region-wide leadership framework. Okay? So, ano-ano ba yung itong title na ito, hahanapin nyo kung ano-ano yung mga ginagamit ng mga leaders sa eskwelahan na may kinalaman sa paggamit ng technology. Tapos, ito yung magiging assessment ninyo at magiging basihan ng paggawa ng tinatawag nating region-wide leadership framework. Okay? So, actually, ang goal nito, pwedeng utilization of ganyan or assessment of. And since ayaw nyo naman nang gamitin at ayaw na nating makakita ng assessment or evaluation, di ba? Evaluation. Hindi niya na nilagay dyan. Pero ito, ganun pa rin ang magiging kalalabasan. This is still descriptive, assessing and evaluating the leadership style of yung mga respondents ninyo, which is yung mga school heads. Okay. Yung susunod, ito ay isang issue naman na medyo mainit sa panahon natin ngayon. So, hindi natin alam kung kailan ito magda-die down. So, ito ay may kinalaman doon sa ChatGPT. This is an artificial intelligence na ginamit ngayon sa academe sa pagbuo ng kanilang mga requirements ng paper. At ngayon ay tinitignan nila yung appropriateness ng paggamit nitong artificial intelligence na ito. So, ang gagamitin natin, effect of, ito yung issue, ChatGPT, selected English major students since writing. Okay? Critical thinking skills ng mga estudyante. Okay? Ito yung area sa buhay ng mga estudyante and pangalan ng school. Wala tayong nilagay na output dahil kung halimbawa ito ay ginagawa ng mga college students, ng mga senior high school, pwede nyong gamitin ito. So pwede nyong gamitin effect of ChatGPT to the critical thinking skills of selected English major students of pangalan ng school. Ulitin natin, pwede itong maging research title proposal even in the graduate school level. Okay? Hindi lang siya limited doon sa senior high school, sa college. Kahit sa graduate school level students, pwede nyong gamitin ito. Okay, so next. Yung mga nakalagay po dyan na maliit, reminder lang po yan, no part of this material may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval or transmitted in any form or by any means, electronic, mechanical, photocopying, recording, or otherwise without the prior written consent from the owner. Yung written consent, pag nag-reply na lang po ako, sinabi kong it's okay, paki-cite, paki-credit na lang po yung owner during the presentation, that's already the written consent ng owner. So maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat. We are almost done. Bibigay ko na lang po yung mga iba pang halimbawa na naisip ko habang ginagawa natin itong research title template. Yung susunod, effect, pareho ang ginamit, effect. Okay, lagyan lang natin ng mga ano yan. Natapos na tayo dyan. Dito na po tayo. Effect ng ChatGPT ulit. ChatGPT, pero tignan natin, graduate school students naman. Effect ng ChatGPT sa graduate school students sa kanilang research writing skills. Ulitin natin, ito ay artificial intelligence, yung ChatGPT is an AI that helps the user create ideas, write apps na may kinalaman doon sa ipapasok nilang mga keywords. Yun basically ang pinaka-concept ng ChatGPT. Okay? So, baka dumating yung time mag-blow up, lumaki itong ChatGPT. At least meron na kayong head start na ngayon pa lang, binibigyan ko na kayo ng idea na pwede itong maging mainit na issue for research pagdating ng hinaharap. Okay? And dadating din yung panahon, baka lumipas na ito, mag-die down na. And then eventually, at least, you were able to get a hold ng concept ng ChatGPT, if it is good or bad. Okay, next, to the research writing skills, pangalan ng school, and then kapag binuo natin, effect ng ChatGPT to the research writing skills of graduate school students o pangalan ng school. Okay, so this is already an accepted research title proposal. Okay, next, the last one. Dito naman, effect of the effect of gadget-based parenting. Gadget-based parenting, pwede nyo lagyan ng hyphen dito. Gadget-based parenting of toddlers. Also, specific age yan of toddlers. So, ito pwedeng sa mga major ng psychology, early childhood, na may kinalaman sa behaviorism ng mga anak nila o ng mga estudyante na nasa level ng toddlers, pwede niyong gamitin ito. Okay? So, dito sa output niya, lagyan niyo lang dito sa susunod na element to the specific area ng development. Halimbawa, pwedeng psychomotor, di ba? Psychomotor, halimbawa to the psychomotor development. Psychomotor, di ba? Pwede yung baguhin ulit ito. So this is just an example to the psychomotor development ng estudyante, ng mga toddlers. So ang lalabas dito, effect of gadget-based parenting to the, halimbawa dito, sinabi natin psychomotor development of toddlers. Okay, next. Dito, wala na ako nilagay na element. Naglagay na lang ako ng mga suggested titles pa. This is already a bonus. So, pwedeng, since sabi ko kanina, yung ChatGPT is an AI, pwede tayong mag-focus ngayon sa general term na artificial intelligence or generic term na artificial intelligence or AI. The role of AI in the development of the next generation lifelong learners. Gusto nyong i-specify, pwede din. But again, this is just an idea that you can dwell in. Pwede nyong imbestigahan in the future pag gagawa kayo ng research. So, itong AI, napakarami na pong mga AI-based application. So, pwede nyong i-specify ito. Specify nyo na lang kung anong AI. Okay? Specify. Okay, next. Yung susunod naman na may kinalaman sa agriculture, food production, economics, di ba? So lahat yan magkakasama. Ito ay may kinalaman sa hydroponics. Hydroponics, urban farming as an alternative to conventional means of food production. Okay? So ang imbestigahan nyo dyan ay hydroponics. At ano ang pwedeng maitulong nitong hydroponics na may kinalaman sa paggawa, pagdagdag sa pagkain, sa supply ng pagkain ng mga tao. Ano ba yung kayang palakihin o kayang anihin gamit ang hydroponics? So kung titignan ninyo, halimbawa itong mga huling dalawang example natin, walang mga elements. At tinanong ko naman kayo, di ba? Our dear listeners, followers, and subscribers. Kapag tinanong ko kayo, dito sa ating second to the last example, nasaan dyan yung tinatawag nating independent variable, yung issue na iniimbestigahan ninyo. Ang independent variable nyo ngayon, if you are listening, is, the answer is artificial intelligence. The independent variable is artificial intelligence. Dito naman, sa tinatawag nating, sa last title, so lagyan natin dyan, artificial intelligence is the IV. Okay, dito naman sa last title, hydroponics. Ano naman dyan yung tinatawag nating independent variable? Nakuha nyo na ba? Ang independent variable natin dyan ay yung hydroponics. So, yan yung issue. Okay, so I hope with that, nagkakaroon na kayo ng idea kung paano nyo makikita, ma-identify yung tinatawag natin mga elements na inilagay po natin dito sa ating research title template at hopefully makatulong sa inyong makabuo ng inyong proposed research title. Hello everyone and welcome back. This time I will be sharing with all of you a template that I created for writing the introduction and background of the study, and we are going to do this by using Tagalog and English as the medium of our discussion. So for this particular template, I have divided this into two parts, which is the introduction and the background of the study. So we have on this part the introduction and the background of the study. The reason for this particular template is to simplify and to present to you an overview of what is supposed to be done when you are writing your introduction and background of the study. Second, in order to differentiate introduction from background of the study by presenting the contents of each of these parts, which is the initial part of chapter 1. So let's start off by identifying the different parts or the content of what we call the introduction. So this particular part, numbers 1, number 2, and number 3 are all part of what we call the introduction. And then number 4, number 5, and number 6 will be part of what we call the background of the study. So what should be the content of what we call the introduction? The introduction presents the following. It is a presentation of the issue, not necessarily the problem. So I always use the term issue instead of problem because not all issues are considered problems. So it is a presentation of the issue being investigated. What the question that is supposed to be answered in this particular part of your research paper. Kapag kayo nagsusulat, kailangan masagot nyo ang mga sumusunod na tanong. What is the issue being investigated? Kaya yun ang ipipresent ninyo. I-present nyo agad ano ba ang iniimbestigahan ninyo. So dapat masagot yan. Ano yung issue na iniimbestigahan? And what is known and unknown about the issue? So what is known and unknown about the issue? What is known refers to the facts. Ano yung katotohanan tungkol doon sa issue na iimbestigahan ninyo? At ano pa yung mga hindi pa nalalaman tungkol doon sa issue na iimbestigahan ninyo sa inyong research. Lahat ng ito ay i-discuss sa pamamagitan ng tinatawag nating narrative, pakwento. Ikukwento ninyo, ang pagsusulat ninyo ay nasa form ng pagkukwento o pagnanarrate. Okay? So, yun yung unang bahagi na tatalakayin ninyo dito sa bahagi ng introduction. Yung pangalawang bahagi ay yung tinatawag nating presentation of the need to conduct the study. Ipe-present ninyo yung dahilan kung bakit kailangan gawin itong research na pinopropose ninyo. So, ang tanong na kailangan masagot, why do you need to conduct the study? So, mag-present kayo dyan ng mga ibang studies na ginawa na nagkaroon kayo ng inspirasyon dito at dahil kayo ay apektado, pinili ninyo itong issue na ito para imbestigahan naman sa lugar ninyo, sa lokal ninyo. Okay? So, the need to conduct the study is an argument. Magbibigay kayo ng ebidensya na talagang merong pangangailangan na gawin yung research ninyo. So, kailangan i-convince ninyo yung inyong mga readers. Yung pangatlo, presentation of the importance of the study or the significance of the study or the relevance of the study. So, ang kailangan sagutin nyo dito, what will be the implications and the significance of your study? Ano yung kahalagahan nito? Ano yung mga benefit na maibibigay nitong study na ito? So, basically, this is what should be read. Ito ang dapat na mabasa at makita doon sa initial part ng inyong chapter 1, which is the introduction. By definition, ang introduction ay ang sumusunod. This section, itong bahagi na ito, should be clearly presented or should clearly present the issue, which is what we discussed kanina sa kaliwa, being investigated and provide relevant contextual information, yung facts. Ito yung sinasabi natin. Ano yung known? Ano yung facts? Okay? About the topic of the research, yung issue na iniimbestigahan ninyo. So basically, kung ano yung diniscuss natin kanina, ito din yung nandito sa definition natin. It typically includes a brief overview, maiksi lang, of the facts, the truths related to the issue being investigated. This section aims to establish the need for the research. Sabi natin kanina dito, kailangan i-present ninyo yung the need to conduct the study. So, ito din yung sinasabi niya. This section aims to establish the need for the research. Another, highlight the significance, the importance, the relevance of the study. And provide a foundation, basihan, para gawin yung inyong research by presenting the relevant facts, concepts, theories of previous research findings. So, basically, itong definition na ito, nire-reinforce niya lang kung ano yung nandito sa pinag-usapan natin. So, ito yung tinatawag nating introduction ng inyong study. Yung susunod na bahagi naman ay yung tinatawag natin background of the study. So, mamaya pag-uusapan natin kung ano yung deductive method. So, itong background of the study, ang unan yung ipipresent dito ay yung effect at kung sino yung affected. Ano yung epekto at sino yung apektado doon sa study na ginagawa ninyo. So, ang sasagutin nyo dapat, what will be the effect of the study and who will be affected by the study. Okay, next. So, basically, pwede nyong ipasok dito yung tinatawag nating respondents ng study ninyo. Number 5, presentation of the rationale or the reason or the motivation of your study. Rationale refers to the reason why you conducted the study. So, you should be able to answer what motivated you to conduct the study. Okay? So, the last part of the background of the study is what we call the presentation of the goal or the aim of the study. What is the objective of the study? So, yan dapat ang maipipresent ninyo dito sa bahagi nito. Yan dapat ang makikita sa bahagi na ito. So, yung background of the study natin is defined as this section or part provides an overview of the issue being investigated, yung research objectives ninyo, sino yung participants, yung respondents, sabi natin kanina, ano yung effect ng issue, the research questions to be addressed in the study, and the rationale of the study. This section or this part serves as a roadmap para makita yung direksyon na gagawin ninyo o nang gusto ninyong gawin doon sa inyong research. For the research paper by outlining the main purpose and direction of the study. So basically, again, kung ano yung present natin dito sa number 4, 5, and 6, it is what is being discussed or presented dito sa background of the study. Now, on this side, makikita ninyo, we have the inverted pyramid. And then we have an arrow going down or presenting yung direction na downward. So from the base, which is larger, down to yung smaller part is what we call the deductive method. So I have already discussed this in previous videos here in my YouTube channel. So ang ibig sabihin ng deductive method is from general to specific. So from general discussion, narrative, general to specific. So this is used when you are discussing and you are implementing ang ginagamit ninyong paraan ng pananaliksik o sa research ay yung tinatawag nating quantitative research. So kapag quantitative research, deductive method ang gagamitin ninyo. Ang deductive method ay karaniwang gumagamit ng tinatawag nating thematic discussion, thematic paragraph development, sa pagnanarrate o sa pagkukwento. Anong ibig sabihin ng thematic? Meron siyang mga label sa taas, may mga heading. May mga heading sa taas ng inyong paragraph kung saan bawat heading, bawat topic ay related doon sa susunod na topic. Pero ang difference niya ay itong topic na ito is from general and then it becomes more specific. Okay? So that is what we call thematic narrative writing. Okay, and this should be implemented dito sa pagsusulat ninyo ng iba't ibang bahagi ng inyong research paper. Sa chapter 1 meron yan, sa chapter 2 lalong-lalo na. Okay? Which is the review of related literature and studies. So that is what we mean by deductive method. Now, reminder, note, avoid excessive and unnecessary use of citations. Pwede kayong gumamit ng citations dito sa inyong introduction and background of the study. For example, if you want to cite a specific study na ginawa na before, na gagawin yung basihan at sasabihin ninyo na according to this study, talagang merong existing na problema tungkol sa issue na ginagawa ninyo ng research. Yun yung tinatawag nating citation. You can do that, but ang advice lang is do not use excessive and unnecessary citations. So hindi naman kailangan lahat ng part ng inyong research gagamitan nyo ng citation. So hindi dapat sobra at hindi kayo dapat gumamit kung hindi kailangan gamitan ng citation dito sa pagsusulat ng introduction at background of the study. So specifically, those who keep asking ilang pages po ba dapat ang introduction and background of the study, you can already write your introduction and background of the study using 3 to 5 pages for this part of your paper. So again, I will be presenting to you an example of this particular template of a specific introduction and background of the study of a research using this template. So tandaan niyo kung ano yung mga nandito sa template natin kasi yun yung gagamitin natin para ma-identify doon sa actual na manuscript. So number 1, ulitin natin yung research gap, tapos kung ano yung known doon sa issue na iniimbestigahan ninyo. Number 2 is the need to conduct the study. Number 3, what will be the significance of the study. And then number 4, presentation ng effect and sino yung affected. Number 5, presentation ng rationale of the study. And number 6, presentation ng goal of the study. So let's go to your actual example. So here, in an actual manuscript, so ito yung number 1, which is the presentation of the issue that is being investigated. So ang iimbestigahan niya is a tool that is used in mathematics. So ang unang ginawa niyang discussion ay may kinalaman dito sa mathematics. And then after that, sa kanya ipapasok yung tool na pwedeng makapag-improve sa pagkakatuto ng mathematics. Ano naman yung pangalawa? Balikan nga natin yung ating template. Number 2, doon sa template natin, presentation of the need to conduct the study. Presentation of the need to conduct the study. So number 2, this one, so varied researches long demonstrated that mathematics is a common and important problem of students in all ages that needs to be addressed. Underline natin. So kailangan talagang gawan ng research ito dahil ito ay madalas na nangyayari at kailangan bigyan ng kasagutan. So napakasimple nung kanyang ginawang statement na isinama niya lang dito sa kanyang discussion. So number 3, doon naman sa number 3, tignan natin, presentation of the importance of the study. What will be the implication and significance of the study? Dito sa example, ito yung number 3, global concern. So it is important because this is at a level na global concern. So it it will benefit not only the local kung saan ginawa yung research, pero even outside of that particular local and outside of that country, magbe-benefit sila if you were able to identify kung ano yung mga findings mo and able to answer the goal and aim of your study after conducting the research. So, yung benefit will be global. That is why we will be able to answer yung question number 3, the importance of the study. So, it is very important. And then number 4, presentation of the effect at sino yung affected. Number 4. So, let us look at the manuscript and look at number 4. So, who will be affected? So, here, makikita na natin that number 4, the affected will be majority of the learners of the country are struggling in mathematics in general. Okay, sino yung affected? Learners ng mathematics. Saan? Sa Pilipinas. Okay? So, again, number 4, was it able to address kung ano yung effect niya, kung sino yung apektado, who will be affected, and ano yung effect? Who will be affected and what is the effect? So, yung mga apektado ay yung mga students who are taking up mathematics in the Philippines. At ano yung epekto nila? Isa-cite niya dito yung mga result ng mga exam, kasama na dyan yung sa PISA. Okay? So, that is number 4. Okay, next. I think if I'm not mistaken, kung madadaanan natin, ito yung mga result. Yung mga result. Yan yung effect. So, ito yung sinasabi natin kanina, yung mga apektado, yung mga students in the Philippines taking up mathematics under the basic education curriculum, and then yung effect niya are also presented. Hindi na lang natin na inisa-isa dito sa mga examples niya. So, dito, isa sa mga example niya ay yung result ng national and international test sa mathematics. Okay, and then, so that is number 4. Number 5, what is number 5? The rationale of the study. The reason why you conducted the study. So, here in number 5, Math Talk as one of the approach. Math Talk is the strategy na pinopropose niya para makatulong, mapagaan yung pagkakaintindi at pagtuturo ng mathematics to student discussion. It stated that Math Talk enhances everyone's mathematical understanding, competence, and confidence, which are parallel to the goal of the researcher wants to achieve. So, pareho din doon sa gustong malaman ng researcher. Kasi gusto niyang malaman kung totoong itong Math Talk nga ay makakatulong para mapagaan yung pagkakaintindi at pagturo ng mathematics. So again, this is already part of what we call the rationale of the study. Next, number 7, the objective of the study, or number 6 rather. Number 6 is the presentation of the goal or the objective or the aim of the study. So number 6 here on this example ng manuscript ninyo, thus the research focused on Math Talk, and then this study aims, ito na yung objective niya, to flaunt that through this teaching learning approach, students will play an active part and deepen their understanding towards the concept of mathematics. So ito yung direction ng kanyang research as stated here. Gusto niyang patunayan na yung Math Talk ay makakatulong at mapapagaan yung pagkakaintindi at pagtuturo ng mathematics. So again, we have already compared and tried to see if yung template natin, which is presented here, is parallel with the example ng manuscript na present ko sa inyo today. So I hope this was able to enlighten you at an overview. Makita nyo kaagad yung outline kung anong laman ng introduction and background of the study ninyo. Again, here, yung mga maliliit na letra, if you want to use our discussion, please feel free to message me so I can give you a written approval and consent kung gagamitin ninyo ang ating discussion sa inyong respective classroom or sa reporting ninyo. This time, we will be discussing another template that I created that will serve as your guide in writing chapter 2. So before we start, I would like to invite everyone to please subscribe to my YouTube channel at Doc at Padama, and also click that notification bell to alert you when a new video has been uploaded. And also follow my TikTok account with the same name. We also have an FB page entitled Practical Research. This particular FB page will be helpful and useful, especially if you are looking for sources of literature and studies. I have already posted compilations of these sources in this particular FB page. And also, please share and like this video so we can also help our friends, our classmates, and our colleagues with regard to writing this particular part of your research paper, which is chapter 2. Now, before we start, I would like to remind everyone that we will be using the languages Filipino and English for this particular video discussion. And if you want to use this video material as part of your presentation in your class or as part of your discussion, please do get in touch with me and I will give you a written consent so that you will not have any technical problem with regard to the use of this particular video material. So, I would like to start by presenting to you the parts of the template guide, which is divided into two. On your left side is the diagram that represents the template guide in writing chapter 2. So you have from introductory statement up to the unified idea, and we are going to extensively discuss that later on. And on the right side will be the technical terms that will be used in further explaining and emphasizing the process that will be discussed in our diagram. Okay, ulitin natin, sa kaliwa ninyo ay yung proseso, yung step by step na kailangan ninyong sundin at gawin habang isinusulat nyo yung chapter 2, at yung nasa kanan naman ay yung mga technical terms na merong kaakibat na mga definition para mas maintindihan nyo kung anong kahulugan nila habang pinag-uusapan natin itong template guide diagram. So simulan natin sa pag-present ng mga technical terms, pero hindi muna natin isasama yung definition nitong mga terms na ito. Bibigyan natin ng bigat at ng emphasis itong mga terms na ito kapag nandun na tayo sa discussion ng inyong diagram para sa template guide. So, una sa mga definition of terms or dito sa mga technical terms natin ay yung introductory statement. Topic ay iba doon sa topic sentence, supporting sentence, citation, synthesis, thematic approach, deductive method, grand synthesis, at unified idea. So these are the terms that will be used for this particular discussion. Chapter 2 of your research paper is entitled Review of Related Literature and Studies. Again, ang pamagat ng ikalawang kabanata ng inyong research ay Review of Related Literature and Studies. And this particular template guide is applicable if the research method that you are using is quantitative. Again, this particular template guide is applicable if the research method that you are using is quantitative. In relation to this, I would like to direct your attention on the shape, doon sa shape na nakikita ninyo sa ating diagram, which is yung baliktad na pyramid. May kinalaman ito doon sa paggamit ng quantitative method. Kapag ang research ninyo ay quantitative method, you are supposed to use the deductive method in writing. Deductive method. If you are using qualitative research as the method of your writing, then you are going to use the counterpart of deductive method, which is inductive method. So bakit baliktad yung shape ng pyramid na ito? So ito ay may kinalaman doon sa pagkakasunod-sunod, yung logical organization and sequencing ng pagsusulat ninyo dito sa bahaging ito ng inyong research paper. So tinawag siyang deductive. Mamaya pupuntahan natin yung definition dahil dapat ito ay magsisimula doon sa tinatawag nating general discussion going to pababa sa specific discussion. So, yun ang flow na tinatawag natin. Yung flow ng discussion ninyo dito sa paggamit ng deductive method is from general down to the last part to specific. Now, punta tayo doon sa definition ng deductive method. So, according to our definition, deductive method refers to the logical approach where the writer starts with a general premise. So, ito yung operant word natin. Tandaan ninyo, yung dalawang salita kapag deductive method, may kinalaman sa general at sa specific. So, from general premise or thesis statement, and then present supporting evidences, examples, arguments, dito na yung body ng discussion ninyo. Okay? And then arrives eventually at a specific conclusion or a specific statement. So yung last sentence only supports yung unang sinabi niya. It involves moving from general principle or theories to specific observations or conclusions. Ulitin natin, ito yung dahilan kung bakit siya tinawag na deductive at ulitin natin itong deductive method of writing ang ginagamit sa quantitative method ng research. So, wag niyong pagpapalit-palitin yung mga terms na yon, kaya inilagay natin yung iba dito para matandaan ninyo. So, now that we have already established that, we are now going to go doon naman sa tinatawag nating theme or thematic approach. So, itong dalawa ay kailangan ma-establish natin dahil ito yung mga paraan na gagamitin habang kayo ay nagsusulat ng inyong research paper, specifically sa chapter 2. So now that we have already established deductive method, ano naman yung thematic approach? Kasi pagsasabayin natin yan. So pag sinabing theme, meron siyang isang topic, isang central topic, isang central issue kung saan doon umiikot yung discussion. At kung ano yung unang topic mo, dapat susundan, susuportahan ng susunod na topic mo. So, ibig sabihin, yung unang topic dapat relevant doon sa pangalawang topic o sa susunod na topic. Pero basahin natin ano ang definition ng thematic approach. According to this, thematic approach refers to a method of organizing and developing content around a central theme or topic. So instead of presenting information in chronological or sequential order na hindi mo alam kung saan pupunta, hindi mo alam kung related, hindi mo alam kung magkasunod, the thematic approach this time focuses on exploring and discussing ideas, concepts, or issues that revolve around a particular theme or set of themes. So ibig sabihin, lahat ng mga topics na gagamitin ninyo is relevant, related to a central theme or topic. And this central theme or topic will be linked to your research title. Tungkol saan ba yung research ninyo? So doon naka-angkla, doon nakakonekta yung tinatawag nating theme. So yung mga topic dapat ninyo sa inyong chapter 2 ay may kinalaman doon sa research title na ginagawa ninyo. Okay? So ulitin natin, you are going to combine thematic approach, which is the topic should be relevant to one another, and at the same time, these topics should be in deductive method from the general topic to specific topics. So that is how we're going to combine thematic approach to deductive method. Now that we have already established the method and the approach that we are going to use sa pagsusulat ninyo ng chapter 2, simulan na natin doon sa unang bahagi, which is the introductory statement. So, if you're going to observe, once you start writing chapter 2, merong isang sentence or dalawa or tatlong sentences kayong makikita sa unang bahagi ng chapter 2. So ito ang tinatawag nating introductory statement. So, ang introductory statement based from the title to introduce. Ito ay nagpapakilala kung ano yung mababasa, makikita ng mga panelists ninyo, ng mga readers ninyo doon sa susunod na bahagi ng chapter 2. So, ganun lang ang pinakasimpleng kahulugan ng tinatawag nating introductory statement. Now, going to the definition of the introductory statement. So, this is either a sentence or paragraph. It can be 2 or more sentences. Pero, wag nyo nang habaan. I advise that you go direct to the point. You just present pertinent, important, significant, relevant information. Huwag yun ang pahabain. Just focus on your title. And then after that, introduce kung ano yung makikita doon sa susunod na bahagi pag natapos nilang basahin yung introductory statement. So the role of the introductory statement is to grab the reader's attention. So, i-re-focus nyo lang sila doon sa pinaka-aim and objective ng study ninyo. So, it provides essential background information in relation to your research and sets the tone or context for the rest of the writing. So, inihahanda ninyo yung mga nagbabasa para doon sa susunod na bahagi ng inyong research. So, ito yung sinasabi natin na role at laman ng tinatawag nating introductory statement. After writing the introductory statement, we now move on to the body of your manuscript. So this is represented by topic 1 to topic 4. Bakit apat na topics? I recommend that you at least choose 4 topics na gagamitin ninyo sa pagsusulat ninyo ng body ng inyong chapter 2. So ulitin natin kanina, pinag-usapan natin yung method at yung approach na gagamitin ninyo, which is deductive, and the other one, ilagay na natin dito, is thematic. So when you start writing the body, ulitin natin, dapat i-observe ninyong itong deductive and thematic. So kapag sinabi namang thematic, the topic should be relevant. First of all, yung mga topics ninyo should be anchored and relevant to the research title that you are conducting. So itong mga topics na ito will support your claims, your arguments, your research aim based on the research title. Pero dapat sumusunod siya sa deductive at sa thematic. So sabi natin kanina, kapag deductive, ang paraan ng pagsusulat ay from general to specific. Na kapag thematic naman, ibig sabihin dapat relevant. Sino o ano yung relevant? Relevant dapat yung topic 2 sa naunang topic. Topic 2 should be relevant, a continuation of the previous topic, which is topic 1. Pero itong topic 1 compared to topic 2 should be deductive. If topic 1 is general, dapat yung topic 2 mas specific na siya. So halimbawa, yung research ninyo based on local or setting ng inyong discussion, sinimulan nyo yung topic 1 sa Asia. So halimbawa, ang topic 1, ang focus niya in terms of local is Asia. And then doon naman sa topic 2, ang focus ng discussion ninyo will now be in the Philippines. And then after topic 2, which is the Philippines, specific area na, which is NCR or National Capital Region, which is a more specific part sa research or sa Philippines that is included in your research. And then after NCR, dito sa topic 4, pwede nyo nang i-discuss o isama yung specific local ng inyong study. Saan gagawin yung research ninyo. So that is what we mean by deductive, from general to specific, using this particular example which focuses on the local para makita nyo lang kung paano dapat ini-implement yung deductive. Now ulitin natin, kapag relevant itong topic 1, sabi natin, whatever is the label or the heading na gagamitin nyo dyan sa topic 1, ipapaliwanag natin mamaya, should be a continuation on topic 2. Okay? So this is represented by these arrows. So after the introductory statement, it will now proceed doon sa topic 1, and then after writing topic 1, doon naman sa topic 2, which should be relevant to one another, and then after that, topic 3, topic 4, topic 5, and so on and so forth. Okay, now, what do we mean by the first part? So we are only going to get one sample of this diagram, yung topic 1, dahil uulitin nyo lang naman doon sa mga susunod na bahagi, sa mga susunod na topic. So when we talk about topic, topic sentence, and supporting sentences, this is what we mean para ma-distinguish ninyo anong pagkakaiba nitong tatlo. Topic, topic sentence, and supporting sentences. So when we talk about topic, this refers to the subject that you will be discussing in your narrative. So in this particular case, sa paragraph na isusulat ninyo, ito yung nagre-represent ng subject. Kaya ang topic represents the label, the heading, the title of your paragraph. Okay? So this refers to the title, the label, or the heading of your paragraph. This refers to the topic. So ang pag-uusapan ninyo halimbawa ay effect of blended learning in Asia, effect of blended learning in Asia. Yun yung heading ninyo, blended learning in Asia. Okay? So that is our example for topic 1. And then when we talk about topic sentence, so by definition, ang topic sentence naman is a clear and concise, specific statement that introduces, statement lang ha, so isang sentence lang siya, that introduces the main idea, which is the topic. The topic is where you will find the main idea. It introduces the main idea or the central theme of a paragraph. Yun ang topic sentence ninyo. Isa lang siyang pangungusap kung saan nagsasabi o nagpapaliwanag kung tungkol saan yung heading o label na inyong inilagay o isinulat. Okay? So again, I'm going to emphasize isang sentence lang is enough for this particular part. Kaya nga siya tinawag na topic sentence. Okay, the next part is the supporting sentence or supporting sentences. After presenting or writing the topic, na-decide nyo na kung ano yung topic ninyo, topic sentence, and then the supporting sentence is defined as, ito yung mga susuporta doon sa topic sentence, yung mas magpapaliwanag, yung mas magbibigay ng linaw doon sa inyong topic sentence. So by definition, topic sentence is a sentence that provides additional information, examples, or evidences to further explain or support the main idea or topic sentence. Ito nga, okay, of a paragraph. To continue, while the topic sentence introduces the main idea of the paragraph, ito namang supporting sentence, ine-expound, pinapaliwanag. So kung yung topic sentence isang pangungusap lang, itong supporting sentence magpapaliwanag further doon sa sentence na nakalagay diyan sa inyong topic sentence. Okay? Now, to continue, to expound what is already presented doon sa topic sentence on that idea and provide specific details, examples, or explanations. So ito yung kaakibat na laman nitong supporting sentence. So ito dapat ay isang narrative, isang pagpapaliwanag na manggagaling sa researcher. Kayo ang magsusulat, mag-iisip nito. Okay? Ano at tungkol saan, ano ang inyong issue, ano ang inyong pinipresent, tungkol saan ito, at ano yung mga ebidensya nito. Okay? Now, to continue, they, meaning the supporting sentences, help develop and strengthen the main point by offering evidence. Sabi nga natin, ano yung ebidensya ninyo, yung argumento ninyo, o relevant information ninyo. So again, these parts, in one way or another, are really there to help and support one another. So magsisimula sa topic, susuportahan ng topic sentence, susuportahan ito ng supporting sentence. So this is what we mean by the first three parts ng inyong topic 1. Okay, now, After presenting your supporting sentences, okay, we are going to move on now doon sa next part, which is citation. So when we talk about citation, by definition, ito naman yung citation. So I know that you already have an idea when we talk about citation. These are sources that are acknowledged in part of your discussion. So, itong mga sources na ito, pag ang pinag-uusapan natin ay sources, are part of your evidences. Nagpapatibay, nagpapalakas doon sa sinabi ninyo na talagang existing yung problema, meron talagang mga naaapektuhan nitong problema na ito, at merong pangangailangan na gawin itong study na ito. So again, let us go to the definition ng citation. Citation refers to the process of acknowledging and referencing the source of information na ginamit ninyo sa inyong discussion. Acknowledging the source of information or ideas that you have used in your work, specifically dito sa inyong research. It is a way to give credit to the original author or creators and allows the readers to locate and verify kung totoo nga based doon sa citation ninyo na ito yung pinanggalingan at ito yung nakalagay doon sa source ninyo. So, meron tayong iba't ibang klase ng citation na pwede nyong gamitin kapag kayo ay nagsusulat ng inyong research paper. Dito na papasok sa citation yung literature and studies ninyo. So kapag ang ginagamit ninyong paraan ng pagsusulat ay thematic approach, hindi na yung kagaya noon na naka-sequential lang yung arrangement niya. Tapos minsan wala namang kinalaman yung unang topic doon sa susunod na topic. And then there are also formats na nakahiwala yung local na citations, na sources doon sa foreign na resources or na references. So meron kayong tinatawag na local study, foreign study. Meron din kayong tinatawag na local literatures and foreign literatures. In this particular approach na ginagamit ngayon sa karamihan ng mga research papers, deductive and thematic na siya. So hindi na siya nakasegregate, nakaseparate na local and foreign. Okay, so that is what we mean by the next part, which is citation. The last part of this particular area ng inyong writing will be the synthesis. It is important that you synthesize. So when we talk about synthesis, the last part, okay, so we have already discussed topic, sentence, supporting, citation, and then we move on to synthesis. So when we talk about synthesis, by definition, again, this refers to the act of combining. When you synthesize, ang ibig sabihin ng synthesize is to put together, to combine. Ano ang pagsasamahin? Hindi siya literal na fuse. Okay? Yung synthesizing ninyo is just establishing the relationship of yung citation ninyo, yung reference ninyo, doon sa study na ginagawa ninyo. So when you synthesize, again, this refers to establishing the relevance of what? Your reference, your source, to the study that you are conducting. So you have to establish, put them together. Anong kinalaman nung reference ninyo sa study na ginagawa ninyo? Yun ang isusulat nyo ngayon. Ito ngayon ang ilalagay ninyo. At ito ngayon yung tinatawag nating synthesis. To continue, a synthesis sentence typically occurs in the concluding paragraph. That is why yung synthesis niyo nasa last part ng inyong paragraph. Okay? Supposed to be for every topic, dapat kahit papaano meron kayong synthesis na inilalagay sa inyong paper. Kasi yung iba hindi na ginagawa. Kaya ang nakikita na lang is puro citations, which is wrong, which is a big no in writing this part of your research paper. So again, to continue, it should be located in the concluding paragraph or section of a research paper or an essay. It summarizes the main points or arguments presented throughout the writing and presents comprehensive views or conclusions based on synthesized information. Based on the references na ginamit ninyo sa inyong paragraph, establish ninyo kung ano yung mga nakita nyo dito. Establish meaning i-relate ninyo ito sa study na ginagawa ninyo. Ulitin natin, itong relevance na makikita ninyo, ma-establish ninyo, ang tatawagin natin ngayong synthesis ng inyong writing. To continue, assuming that you have already written topic 1 to topic 4, we now move on to the next part, which is grand synthesis. If you observe, there are 4 green arrows. Merong 4 na arrow dyan na galing sa topic 1 to topic 4. Lahat sila ay tumuturo o nagtuturo papunta doon sa grand synthesis. Hindi kagaya nitong mga arrow na may kinalaman doon sa relevance ng topic doon sa susunod na topic. Ang kahulugan nito ay lahat dapat ng kaalaman, lahat ng impormasyon na nalaman ninyo sa topic 1 to topic 4 ay dapat gamitin at ma-synthesize. Ibig sabihin, ma-integrate dito sa grand synthesis para mas mapalakas, mas masuportahan yung inyong claim at yung aim ng inyong research paper. Now, tignan natin kung ano ang kahulugan o definisyon ng tinatawag nating grand synthesis. So, ang grand synthesis by definition is a skillful integration of diverse information. Yung diverse information natin dito ay tumutukoy doon sa topic 1 to topic 4 to create a unified, a synthesized piece of work that contributes to the understanding of a particular subject. In this case, yung particular subject ninyo ay may kinalaman doon sa title ng inyong research. It presents an understanding that emerges from the synthesis of multiple views or ideas. So, bawat topic may synthesis kayo. Yung mga synthesis na yon, pagsasama-samahin ninyo yung nalaman ninyo na laman ng synthesis. At yun yung tinatawag nating grand synthesis. It goes beyond merely summarizing. Hindi lang siya summary. Hindi po siya summary lang ng mga nalaman ninyo at regurgitating individual sources. Hindi yung inuulit nyo lang kung ano yung synthesis ng topic 1, uulitin nyo lang kung ano yung synthesis ng topic 2, at hanggang sa topic 4, tapos pagsasama-samahin ninyo, pero yun lang din ang laman. So, hindi ganun yung tinatawag nating grand synthesis. Kailangan i-narrate ninyo, i-paraphrase ninyo kung anong meron, kung anong common, kung anong pagkakaiba ng bawat kaalaman, ng bawat knowledge from topic 1 to topic 4 at gawan nyo ngayon ng synthesis. I-relate nyo itong mga nalaman ninyo doon sa research na kinokonduct ninyo. And then a new understanding or interpretation by connecting and integrating the relevant information. So sa pamamagitan ng paggawa nitong grand synthesis, there is a possibility na pwede na kayo magkaroon ng idea na merong panibago o makabagong impormasyon na naaayon din sa research na ginagawa ninyo. Kaya sabi natin kanina, itong mga impormasyon na ito ay dapat based on evidence, based on references, sources, at based dito sa synthesis na sinulat ninyo. Now, after establishing and writing yung grand synthesis ninyo, the last part is what we call a unified idea. So ano naman itong unified idea natin? So by definition, dito, ang unified idea is a statement that supports the aim, claim, and arguments of the research. So saan makikita ito? Ito ay bahagi ng grand synthesis. So itong unified idea ay bahagi ng grand synthesis, yung ipinaliwanag natin kanina na dapat sa pamamagitan ng pagkuha ng mga magkakaibang kaalaman na nakuha nyo sa topic 1 to topic 4, pwede kayong makabuo ng panibagong kaalaman. Ito yung tinatawag nating bahagi ng grand synthesis ninyo. At yung unified idea naman ay yung mga pinagsama-sama ng kaalaman na nanggaling doon sa topic ninyo na sumusuporta doon sa sabi nga natin yung aim, yung claim at yung argument ng inyong research. Ulitin natin, itong unified idea ay bahagi ng inyong grand synthesis. So dito ay makikita o magkakaroon na kayo ng idea kung paano dapat isulat ang inyong ikalawang kabanata, Review of Related Literature and Studies. Ang kailangan nyo na lang gawin dito sa bahagi na ito ay magbasa, magbasa, at magbasa para makakuha kayo ng ebidensya na kakailanganin ninyo para mapatunayan yung mga argumento at yung mga claim at yung direksyon ng research na gusto nyong gawin.